when I was joining forces with Migam, there was one thing that pushed me towards making this final decision to start working on this project, and that was Przemek. Przemek told me that I'm a dumb person, and I hate this kind of opinion about me because I feel like an intelligent guy that is building AIs, for God's sake, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So this I know that this was a tactic that he used, but he showed me that I'm an idiot because I'm blind. And he explained to me, okay, so whenever you are walking on the street, you you think that you're like a good person, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the problem is that whenever you are looking at the street and you're looking at a person which has a white cane and black glasses, and it's getting close to the street, you are trying to help to pass the street, yeah. Or eventually, if you're looking at a person on a wheelchair which is trying to get into a shop which has like a steep step, you're trying to help, obviously, because you are a good person. But whenever you're walking on the street, you don't see deaf people anywhere.
Right,
That's the
right.
issue because they are invisible for you. And because of that, he told me that I'm blind because I'm not looking at the problem and I'm not seeing it. There's over 70 million people that are being excluded from the market, from communication, from practically they are being pushed away by the society, and they should be a part of the society. So that's our mission, to get rid of this final barrier.
Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome back to Scaling Practice Management, the podcast where we help practice managers grow smarter, not harder. My name is Jakub Grajcar. I'm the head of marketing at Talkie AI, the AI medical receptionist. And with me on the call today is Max Salamonowicz, head of AI at Migam, a healthcare startup removing barriers for deaf people. Max, how are you doing today?
Awesome, thank you. Thanks for asking.
I'm doing awesome too. It's a really, really good day. Here in Poznan, it's a little bit cloudy today, but honestly, perfect. I couldn't ask for better weather. We've got a nice spring over here and a nice show ahead of us. Max, thank you so much for coming on the show. We've got a few things to talk about today. We're going to talk about your startup. We're going to talk about the healthcare space in general. But first, I would love for the watchers and listeners to know you better on a personal level. So before we start talking business, how about you tell me what is the most fun thing you've done this year thus far? Tell us a story.
Oh my God, it's super difficult question, especially because this year was. I'm having a blast. Lots of different projects happening in the background, lots of successes. But probably the funniest thing and the most important thing that is happening is coming to a certain point on a timeline that we've got AI fundamental model that we're building with Migam to a moment that it's becoming stable in product. So this is kind of a end of the road, and we are starting yet another adventure making it happen as a product for our end users. So this is like nobody knew that it's going to be possible. I was like 90% sure. So this is very promising, and yeah, I feel fulfilled, I can say, because of that.
Okay. I like that. I like that. But I'm not going to let you off so easy here, Max. How about outside of work?
Outside of work, I mean, I'm a workaholic, so let's get it straight. I'm usually spending most of my time in front of a computer coding, or eventually flying around, discussing with people how they are going to use our. Because I want to be close to end user, as close as possible. So we're spending a lot of time flying to states, discussing it with different companies, visiting big tech, etc. And this is amazing because while I'm abroad, I love hiking, so I'm spending a lot of time, usually, especially in California. I love those areas to visit different national parks, etc. So hunting for wilderness permits and trying to check if there's yet another place which is way nicer than the last one. Yeah.
Okay, hiking in California. That's awesome. Just thinking about it makes me all excited. That's so cool. All right. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We might touch upon that a little bit more later. Who knows? Who knows? Second question I wanted to ask you, Max, is what I'm curious about all the guests on the show is how we ended up in this healthcare space. I keep saying I wasn't planning on this, and yet here I am. And I'm so excited to run this show and to talk with people in healthcare. So, what's your origin story? How did you end up in this space?
I mean, that wasn't planned as well. I'm an IT guy. I've been always building products related to some kind of a information technology. It was front end, it was back end, it was hardware, etc. I was in cinema industry, I was in game dev industry. So I'm just trying to bring value wherever I go with my experience and skills. Where it's needed. And that's practically the thing that made me a part of Migam team, because there's a huge need to provide this kind of a solution that we built, the automated translation system. And we've made it happen because it was possible. And pretty much I was needed at this project to make it happen because I've got skills. So pretty much that was supernatural. And the group that I'm working with, those are amazing people. So that was a no-brainer for me to hook up with the team.
Yeah, I can really relate to that. It's great to be working on a problem that you can really feel it brings value when you're working on solving that. At Talkie, we're trying to solve, wait lines and hold times for medical practices. With Talkie, people can reach their medical practice immediately and talk with our AI agent, and I think that makes a huge difference in people's lives, both for the practices and the patients. So that's cool. That's cool. And if anybody's curious about what I just said, Talkie.ai, check us out. Anyway, so I want to ask you a bunch of questions about Migam specifically, the story behind that. It's super interesting from what I learned thus far when we chatted off the call. But first, as is tradition, I would love for our watchers and listeners to learn from your experience as quickly as possible, as soon as possible in the episode. So I'm going to ask you what is becoming the traditional scaling practice management question. What is your number one tip for successfully growing a healthcare practice, Max?
Thank you for this question. I'm super happy that you gave me this question before our meetup.
No, don't spoil it. No, this is
No,
totally
no, no, no.
spontaneous.
I spent literally, to our listeners, I spent literally 2 or 3 days wrapping my head around this, because this is very short question, but super deep when you all think about this. So I want to address it from my experience, and I'm not. I've got a lot of gray hair, as probably those that are looking
Yeah,
at the
the
screen.
watchers
And
can see
yeah,
that. The listeners have been informed now.
yes. So I am not a young guy, and I've learned the hard way that trust is the fundamental part of building a team and being a part of a team. So I'm super happy that right now I've got an opportunity to work with a team that puts the trust in me. At the same time, I know that those are guys that eventually, if that would be Wild West and we would need to borrow some horses, this would be my team to go, yeah, pretty much. But it comes with time. So just be aware of that you need time to build relationship, and in most of the cases those this kind of a relationship, this is built and forged in fire. So whenever you are facing difficult situations, so whenever you've got some kind of a crisis that you need to address with your team, all of a sudden after finishing this kind of a hectic experience, you are coming out stronger, but also with lots of trust built as a bridge in between different personas, different teams, etc. And this is fundamental for business, in my humble opinion.
Okay, that's great. So somebody listening to this is probably thinking, yes, I do want to build trust with my team. I've tried a bunch of things in the past. What's your best advice for what works? Is it, I don't know, team building with pizza? You're saying it's forged in fire. So how do you address it when it actually happens, when those crisis situations happen?
I mean, I don't believe in typical team building experiences like let's go kart, or I don't know, do
Yeah.
something all together.
Didn't think
No,
you would, yeah.
it's pushing people to do something that isn't natural because they would like to hang out with their own breed. Like I'm a coder guy, so usually with high tech guys, I feel comfy, and with, let's say, marketing guys, this isn't my gig. So I feel like an outsider. So, but whenever I was capable of coming out of a problematic and difficult situation with the team, all of a sudden this trust was showing up, And it isn't important if somebody was, I don't know, C-level manager or a techie guy doing code or a marketing guy that I mentioned already. It's important that altogether we went through hell and back. And this is building this is my team building exercise. Just face problems altogether. Yeah.
I understand. How do you talk to your team when it's really tough? When you're in hell, how do you talk to them?
I'm trying to be direct and honest, and that's probably one of my best and worst features that I was equipped with. Is that like my DNA is pushing me to the limits when it comes down to work. At the same time, when it comes down to conversation and being a part of some kind of a organization. So I'm a difficult guy. So usually it's like somebody will be working with me as a happy person because he or she will like my point of view and my approach towards all of the tasks that I'm trying to complete. Or before first month. The first month usually is the most difficult one because some of those guys will say no, hell no, never more. Max is just crazy stupid and he doesn't have work-life balance. He doesn't understand that we do not know how to make it happen or something like that. So it's all about grinding gears with the team and seeing if it's working or not. And I'm definitely more flexible than I was 10 years ago. That's the big difference. 10 years ago, it was rather my way or highway. And right now it's totally different because I feel like I'm trying to be a human being for other human beings. So it's a lot of work to be in this particular place, but yeah, I'm really trying.
I would love to be like in the room during one of those conversations, to hear what it's like. But I can absolutely understand your point, and I think trust is super important. And it's one of those things. What you mentioned brings to my mind a thought that I've been recently mulling over, and it's that when you're fully yourself, the people who aren't a fit are going to kind of filter themselves out of your life, and I feel like that's really important, to be authentic and be fully yourself, and then the people who fit with that and vibe with that are going to stay, and the others, as you mentioned, they might just say never again. And I think that's okay.
I'm not 100% sure if you are. I agree to disagree in this particular case because if you will think about organizations such as a company or firm. You are being put in an environment and you need to be over there. You need to be a part of it. You are being forced towards being a part of a team. So I really like Przemek's approach. Przemek, that's our CEO at Migam. This guy is amazing because he's always laughing. Like I've got only two jobs to tackle, and one is to bring more money from investors to push it forward, and second one is to bring talent to the team. And he's fulfilling both of those promises. And the second one is extremely important because he feels who will fit the needs of the team because it needs to be a team after joining this additional person. So even taking some kind of a IT genius, AI engineer that's uh, super cool when it comes down to productivity or knowledge or experience, doesn't make any sense if this person won't fit the needs of the team because that person will be damaging the whole operation.
So it's a matter of culture fit, right? I think it's really
Yeah.
important, and a team that meshes together can be better than the sum of its parts. And as you mentioned, somebody who is not a fit or who's disruptive can actually really slow a team down. All right, we might get back to this a little bit later and go deeper. We'll see how the conversation goes. But for now, I wanted to switch gears and actually get into Migam, your company, and to talk about that story because that's kind of the origin story behind this whole conversation. My COO Ada reached out to me saying Max is such an interesting startup and such an interesting story that we should feature that on the show, and I'm happy to do it. So because it is a really interesting product. So without further ado, can you tell the audience about Migam, what it is, and how it came to be?
Okay, story time. Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that.
Uh, Migam has been started over 10 years ago. So 1 decade, that's a lot of time. So it seems like it isn't a startup. And it's very successful in Poland when it comes down to providing translation services with enough form of a human translators joining a call and providing sign language translation via video. And this is working well, but there's a huge problem with scaling. And that was always the big dream of our CEO to make it global. But you can't grow while using extremely limited amount of interpreters in different countries. There are different sign languages being used all over the world, and this is this is impossible pretty much to make it happen. So he always wanted to create an AI solution, and he failed 3 times making it happen. That's a long story. And the short story, those are last 2 years when I've joined the company, and finally we've made it happen. And it isn't like I'm a Superman or, freaking genius or something like that. It's rather the time is right now. So we've got attention is all you need, transform work. This is like fundamental document which is responsible for Gen AI revolution. Attention is all you need by Google. And OpenAI popped up with GPTs, a lot of different transformer based solutions popped up in different areas. And pretty much the knowledge, the processing power, mainly because of NVIDIA, showed up on the market. So right now is the time to build this kind of a solution. So right now, if you are bringing skills, this is becoming possible. So we've made a automated translator of human voice or text into a sign language. First sign language that we've built is ASL, American Sign Language. This is super important to understand one basic fact that deaf community cannot use closed captions or purely text because that isn't natural. This isn't their native language. English isn't native for an American deaf person. The ASL is. And this is totally different language because it's three-dimensional. You are using your hands, you are using your body, you are using facial expression, and it's also temporal. It has temporal nature because everything is set on a timeline and it needs to correspond. It has its own grammar, lots of vocabulary, and vocabulary is really tricky because you may affect certain words, so-called glosses in sign language, by facial expression. So it's affecting if it's something big, small, if it's making you happy or sad, and so on and so on. So it's very deep language, and it's extremely hard to build a model that will be capable of translating it. That's why Migam failed 3 times before building the first model. Why is it difficult? First of all, this is a very complex task when you think about all of the elements that are needed to make it happen. You need data sets, which are super difficult to get in proper quality and to build upon them the model. The model needs to have totally different architecture that all of the LLMs, large language models that are currently being used, because you aren't thinking with tokens, which are parts of the words, and joining those all together, building sentences. This is totally different. You need to think in 3D. So you are working with landmarks, like, for example, wrist, pinky, and different fingers in 3D space, moving all together in time. So it's way more complicated than a part of a word after a part of a word and followed by a part of a word. So because of that, that was super difficult. We were trying to use existing technologies that were out there, but we failed heavily, choosing this easier path. So we took the hard path. Let's build our own architecture. We've been working with NVIDIA. NVIDIA helped us out with optimization to make it more product-like and polished solution, so it's way faster. And thanks to that, it's also way more affordable for end user. And right now, we are just after finishing ASL, the first language that we've built, and we are looking forward because we are going to build 29 additional languages in 2 years. And probably, world domination, at least the dev translation related services. So pretty much that's it.
I think this is the first time I'm hearing of a startup that's planning world domination.
First one? No, I've been in Silicon
No,
Valley.
I'm
I'm
being
a,
ironic. I'm being ironic. It's
yeah,
so
yeah, sure.
typical in this space. But for this world, yeah, yeah, I do wish you that domination. I have a bunch of questions about what you just said. First of all, you said, okay, purely from a technical perspective, because I'm curious, you said it's difficult to get data. So where did you actually manage to find good quality data for ASL for Migam?
I mean, we've got a couple of different sources, but the major question that should show up, what kind of a data we should use, because a lot of different projects and also Migam at the very beginning were using something that seemed like a very plausible solution, which is, for example, using Microsoft Kinect cameras to create a database full of data points in 3D space in time. So you're literally reading the space. So thanks to that, you've got human body represented in 3D, or using motion capture, like special suits that you're putting, like in game dev or in special effects for cinema, that you're putting on the body. So thanks to that, you've got movement in 3D space of hands and such, and all the whole body. But all of those solutions are great. They're producing amazing effect in the end in form of a dataset that you could use. But there's one major issue, which is cost. Migam spent around 2 million Polish zloty, so that's 500K US dollars, just making an experiment to answer the major question if it's doable. And yes, it is doable, but it's way more expensive than we assumed. So we wouldn't be able to build an affordable system which will have which needs to have literally thousands of different glosses slash words. Otherwise, it will be too shallow to make any kind of a translation. So me and Tomasz Kolinko, the fellow, this guy is genius pretty much. So this guy, he brought a solution, and it was like counter logical during like first moments that was like no, hell no, this isn't going to work. So he proposed that we are taking 2D videos, and there's a lot of 2D videos, and they are dirty cheap to make as well. So whenever you need to create additional parts of datasets, you may just record additional videos. That's a camera and a interpreter in front of a camera. This is simple, yeah. But the problem is that you cannot easily get out of 2D video information that you need to build a dataset, because you need a cloud of points in 3D in time that are moving in time. So we focus on this part first, not on the model, not on the inference, not on the end game. We focused how to make an affordable dataset that will be useful for us. And we've nailed it. That was the idea that Tomek brought to us. I added a couple of clever things, like we are literally getting rid of muscles and skin from the interpret body, like in IT terms, like algorithms using different AI, and we've got only skeleton. We are also reading facial expressions, and thanks to that, we are automating the process. We also faced a couple of different niches, like for example, solutions proposed by Google to make this kind of data aggregation doesn't work well with depth, so the z-axis that you've got. So you've got like a 2D representation, which is practically perfect with all of the points being recognized, but hands are moving back and forth, and pretty much whenever you will move the 3D object of a human body, doing the sign language in the meantime, you will see that the person is boxing in 3D. So we needed to create yet another solution how to fix this issue. And different tools were created in the meantime. A lot of different smaller, like super lightweight AIs to process the data and to build a data set. And pretty much in the end, we've nailed it. And thanks to that, the to build a model in the end became possible and plausible in terms of the cost that will be related to it. So that's a long path.
Yeah, yeah, I can tell. I can tell. And it's really interesting how you first need to build the tools to even be able to like build this data pipeline to feed the model. That's really cool. I feel like we could talk about that for like the whole episode, and I do know, the technical aspect of it interests me. But in the interest of watchers and listeners who might be curious about something else, okay. First of all, I wanted to ask you, help me visualize this. What does using Migam actually look like? So I join a call, and this AI interpreter shows up as like another participant on the call. If you could just paint the picture for us.
It's an avatar, so literally you are looking at the 3D representation. We are currently using Unreal Engine, so like in computer games and in console games, MetaHuman. So we've got not photorealistic, but very realistic representation of an avatar, which is performing sign language in front of us. And this is semi-real time, so we are getting close to real time. Right now, we've got around 4 seconds lag behind the current conversation, but as we are catching more and more context, we are getting lower and lower down to around 2 seconds. So this is one of the solutions, but think about, for example, Netflix, Disney Plus, or HBO, and such. Those platforms, they've got a lot of content, like literally freaking a lot of content. And do you know how many movies are translated into ASL in American Netflix?
I don't.
One.
One?
Yes. About ASL, by the way.
Right. Oh,
So,
well, that's a big gap. It's a
yeah,
huge gap.
exactly. Because everybody think that, yeah, we've got closed captions, yeah, so subtitles are fixing the problem. No, they aren't, because this is like watching a video with subtitles that are in foreign language. And this is one of the biggest issues, that these people, deaf community, they are using their own language. So they are native to sign language, and sign language is three-dimensional. And looking at some, letters and characters on the screen, this is totally foreign for them, like in terms of experience. So if you are thinking about using this model, this is rather like you may uh, create an avatar, like a lower third add-on to a screen for every possible TV series that is out there, for every possible movie, to be a part of your call with your customer, which may be deaf person that just wants to get access to some kind of a services. Uh, and this is the issue that we are facing. There are so many different options to choose from where this could be used. So we aren't focusing on it, and we are pushing this burden towards our partners with which we are working. We are providing technology, barely providing technology. So other companies are building, based on our technology, their own solutions. Usually, that means that they are integrating our technology into their own solutions. Just think about, and fingers crossed, Teams or Zoom are getting additional button that, beside of automatic translation into subtitles, you may get also a 3D rendered avatar in lower right corner. Yeah, and
And
this
it's
is,
powered by Migam.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. We aren't fighting for our logo over there. We are fighting for accessibility for all of those guys that are currently being excluded from communication. And believe it or not, the whole community they would like to work like we are doing it, but they're being excluded from the market purely because they've got no tools to communicate. And they are good coders, they are good marketers. Chief sales manager in our office at Migam, the guy is amazing because he's deaf and he's making all of the sales. He didn't made even a single call during his life, and he's making all of the sales in Poland.
Oh, I see. I see.
So yeah, those guys are amazing, and we just need to give them tools to be more amazing, pretty much.
Okay, well that's definitely, a boost to your credibility that you've got somebody like that on board. I wanted to highlight something. I feel like, as a person, what I learned the kind of the most from this conversation, at least thus far, is what you said about captions versus ASL. Like, for example, myself, I wasn't aware. I was in the camp of, okay, there's subtitles, so probably that's a solution for deaf people, right? But now you're making me realize, okay, what are captions? They're words made up of letters. Letters correspond to sounds, and sounds is not something that the deaf community knows. So you open something up in my mind, and I hope
Thank you.
everybody listening to this
Yes.
will remember this as well. So that's amazing.
And
And
you know what? There's yet another thing. That was something like, when I was joining forces with Migam, there was one thing that pushed me towards making this final decision to start working on this project, and that was Przemek's Przemek told me that I'm a dumb person, and I hate this kind of opinion about me because I feel like an intelligent guy that is building AIs, for God's sake, yeah. So this I know that this was a tactic that he used, but he showed me that I'm an idiot because I'm blind. And he explained to me, okay, so whenever you are walking on the street, you you think that you're like a good person, yeah. So the problem is that whenever you are looking at the street and you're looking at a person which has a white cane and black glasses, and it's getting close to the street, you are trying to help to pass the street, yeah. Or eventually, if you're looking at a person on a wheelchair which is trying to get into a shop which has like a steep step, you're trying to help, obviously, because you are a good person. But whenever you're walking on the street, you don't see deaf people anywhere. That's the issue because they are invisible for you. And because of that, he told me that I'm blind because I'm not looking at the problem and I'm not seeing it. There's over 70 million people that are being excluded from the market, from communication, from practically they are being pushed away by the society, and they should be a part of the society. So that's our mission, to get rid of this final barrier.
I can really feel this sense of mission. It's really sticking with me. I have one question, just to understand the Migam product a little bit better. Currently, the way the product works, is it two ways? Or are you
Not
planning
yet.
to make it two-way communication? Not yet.
Not yet. This is a tricky. This is really tricky in terms of technology behind it. We are working with Travis Dougherty and his team. Those guys are amazing guys from states. That lately Travis joined Migam as an expert from US soil. He's a deaf person. He's also an amazing lobbyist slash tech enthusiast when it comes down to bringing technology and using it and abusing to solve this issue. So that's why he joined us. Travis was working with a team that was trying to make an amazing solution for recognizing the signs in 3D space. I've been also doing exactly the same thing. So right now we are joining forces, so pretty much combining both sides. It's giving us an edge in terms of using the best features of both of the technologies, and in the end providing a solution which will be able to send back and forth translation. So voice comes in, avatar comes out, or eventually the person is just making sign language in front of a camera, and on the other side you've got synthetic voice.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the pieces of that it seems like are falling into place, and you're working on making that happen. That's amazing.
6 months.
6 months? All right, all right. By the time this episode is out, it's gonna be like 5 or maybe 4.5. Awesome, awesome. We're recording this in May, by the way. I don't like saying that because that puts pressure on me to publish in a reasonable time. But these are early days for
Good,
the
good.
show.
Pressure is good.
Yeah, the backlog isn't that long yet. Okay, so I learned a lot about Migam, and it's so exciting. The story, the product, the mission you're on. Now I wanted to take a step back and talk about the broader trend of patient access for underserved groups, because that's kind of the broader category you're in. I hope you would agree. You must be having conversations. You must be seeing this, better than most people that would be listening to this show, etc. So I wanted to ask you, what else is happening in this space? Like if people want to know, I don't really mean to call them trends, but like, what is some of the work that's being done? So you're working on the problem for the deaf community. Do you know of other similar projects, or how do you see this space right now? Is there momentum? Is it happening? How do you feel about it?
That's an amazing question, especially after the last few months. Last January, I was joining forces with guys in Newark and were visiting KBioX, run by Korean diaspora in Silicon Valley, and that was healthcare related event, full day, like 60 different presentations, different startups, different products, different solutions. And one of the major problems, beside of obviously, building an AI to cure cancer. Yes, obviously that's the king, yeah, of the solutions based on AI. But at the same time, there's a they pointed out that there's a huge problem with healthcare being stick in 20th century when it comes down to automation, information being provided to the patient, to doctor that is serving the patient, and altogether creating a perfect situation where we aren't going to grind the numbers and we are going to put a human persona in the system and serve it. So, and this comes with a couple of different caveats, such as, for example, waiting in line. This is something that we shouldn't be doing. Like, we are living really fast lives, and we should get served as soon as possible. We should have control over the process. So we should know exactly when should I show up. Like in Poland, this is one of the biggest problems. Yeah, you've got certain hour that you should be over there for a certain hour, and if you won't show up, you will lose your spot. At the same time, you are coming to the doctor, and you are waiting for 1 hour to get into the, yeah. So the lack of information flow, a lack of the processes, lack of processes which would make it way more easier and more productive, even for the end customer, and also for the hospital, for different healthcare locations. This is the biggest issue, and they were showing us that they are building different tools. Koreans, they are building different tools, and they are trying to address this issue to make it more streamlined, to be faster, to be closer to end customer, to be friendly. And I see that they've called it that they are really, those are direct guys. And I've heard a couple of times, like, one thing that stayed with me till now, and that was like, it's so 20th century, and that this was coming out from CEO, the amazing girl that's running the company, which is 22 or 23 years old, and she has like 60 guys, super successful startup, etc., etc. But she said it's so 20th century, and this is important because from her point of view, we are stuck with old rules, and we are afraid of making changes because it kind of works. It isn't working. That's the true story behind it. We need to work on the information flow. We need to streamline all of the processes. Why the hell marketing is way more organized when it comes down to dealing with, information flow, and not healthcare? Healthcare is, in my humble opinion, more important. Yeah.
I guess I would agree. Yes. Okay, so that stuck with you, the idea of being stuck in the 20th century. That's interesting. I one of the episodes we just published was about that. About, we called it the 20-year gap between, because the technology is there. It seems like adoption of the technology, being stuck
Exactly.
in the old ways is the problem there. So have you seen what the future might be like? Have you seen, these products that are not there yet, but are showing what's going to be possible in the future?
I mean, I should ask you exactly the same question, especially that you
Right.
are inside of a bubble that is trying to
Right.
solve this issue. Yeah, so your perspective is skewed, like totally. In my humble opinion, you're looking at the very best part of a solution, and there's so many different places that I've been discussing with a couple of different healthcare officials from California. Like during last year, I had a couple of different meetings, and I'm so surprised because I assume that American healthcare is obviously expensive, and if you've got money, you are getting treated well. But I was super surprised that even in Poland, it seemed like we are ahead of them when it comes down to quality of service, even in Poland, because we are from Poland. So this is kind
Right.
of a good joke for us. But
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
huge difference when it comes down to it. I've been in hospital in states, like I was a patient, and I was surprised because there were no problems because I had good insurance, getting all of the bells and whistles that were needed to serve me. But at the same time, working with paperwork, working with the communication flow, that was something so odd for me
Yeah.
that it should be addressed in the very first place. So that's your job to make it happen, not mine, because I'm solving just, the other part of I'm helping deaf community to be a part of a society. Your job is to solve this issue with communication and getting, people served, yeah?
Yeah, getting people talking. That's what we do at
Yes.
Talkie. And thank you for saying that. It is true. And that's part of why I decided to join this project. You talked about joining Migam. For myself, for joining Talkie, I want this to be the future. That you can call a clinic at any time, day or night. You can talk with the agent as you would talk with a person with complex questions, natural language. It's like we're spoiled with ChatGPT right now, right? We no longer need to be specific with our input. Google specific things or fill out a form. We can be fuzzy. We can be a little bit uncertain. It can be more consultative in nature. And that's what I want for healthcare as well. And I'm so proud that we're working on that and it's getting better every day. So thank you for giving me the space to mention
You are
that.
responsible for it. I want to remind you because the technology is in your hands. So right now you've got responsibility to bring it to the market.
Mm, mm.
I mean, with great power comes great responsibility, I want to say, yeah? So whenever you've got skills, whenever you've got tools for it, you are becoming responsible for bringing it to the masses. And this is extremely important part of every possible business. You've got mission, cool, super cool. I'm super happy about this. At the same time, if you've got capabilities to bring it and solve real issue, you need to do this. Like literally, you are becoming responsible for solving this particular issue.
Yes, I would like you to basically say more about that. That was something that I was planning to ask you about either way. This is something that we talked about a little bit off the call. The responsibility that AI places on us, that we can now do more with technology, so it's up to us to actually make it happen. Tell me more about what you think about this. What are the obstacles? Just say more things.
I mean, we have we are focusing on AIs, but we aren't focusing on ourselves. And the world is changing rapidly right now. I'm not calling it an AI revolution because I feel like I haven't seen, like lately at least, people were running with torches on the streets and trying to get rid of freaking robots or PCs or something like that. No, no, no. I feel like it's accelerating. Yes, I agree. At the same time, we are looking at wrong things. We should be focusing on ourselves, not on AI,
Okay,
because
what do you mean by that?
AI, this is just a tool, this is just technology, and people are using it. So it's in our hands to use it in to make something good. Like Nvidia has this, saying like AI for good. It's just a saying. At the same time, it's very, very simple fact. We are in control and we are bringing it to the market and we are using it. So we are voting with our own money. So it puts responsibility on our backs to be responsible for how we are going to use it, what we will bring to the market. And at the same time, if you've got skills and means to make it happen, it means that you are responsible for making it happen because that was like Przemek's big dream 10 years ago, 1 decade, yeah? He wanted to solve this issue once for all, like to make everything accessible for deaf community. Right now we've got tools, so we are responsible for making it happen. We need to make it happen.
So, if you had everybody working on AI products right now, particularly in healthcare, in the room, and you could say something to them to kind of shake them up, wake them up, what would you say to them?
Stop daydreaming, stop focusing on regulations, focus on real change that we are bringing to the market and into human lives. Because that's it, pretty much. You've got superpowers. Just believe in it and make real change, yeah?
I like that. I like that. And it's true. It is a superpower. It's an amazing time that we're in, and it's an amazing technology that we've got now that so much can be built on top of. It's making me feel better and more empowered, even with our mission here at Talkie. That's awesome. Okay. So what else I would like to know about that is you mentioned regulations, right? So that's one of the obstacles or
Oh
like what.
my.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk about regulations for a bit? Why did you mention that specifically?
I mean, because I'm from Poland, and this is highly regulated country with lots of conflicting rules over here, and I'm afraid what will happen with AI Act being introduced to the because AI Act is like a fundamental part of regulations for European Union. At the same time, Poland will be implementing this series of certain rules on Polish soil, and I'm afraid uh, we Europeans we've got extremely wrong angle of approach towards regulations, in my humble opinion. And at the same time, we cannot say like that states aren't regulated at all. California they've done a lot of groundwork when it comes down to prep proper rules on how to build and how to properly use AIs over there. So I'm not against regulations. I'm against super strict regulations that will be pushing super unique systems becoming obsolete before premiere, or eventually putting people, really clever and super hardworking people, in a difficult situation that they do not want to risk the next 3 to 5 years working on a product that won't be able to show up on the market. That's the uncertainty. That's the keyword, in my humble opinion. That's the biggest issue that we are facing right now, and especially for for EU, that's the major problem that we need to address. Otherwise, innovation will be also in Europe, but it will be imported.
I understand. I'm glad I asked you about this. And so what I'm getting from this is, a lot of it seems to be a matter of confidence, to be honest. A matter of like having not even the momentum, but like the force of will to make these things happen. And that's a really interesting perspective. It's a really interesting feeling, you know?
You are touching I will give you an example.
Okay, yeah.
So just try to imagine 80s, for example, and first PCs showing up at homes, like going really haywire. We've started with Spectrums, Amstrads. Afterwards, we've got Commodore, Atari, Amigas, and we've switched to PCs 80, XT, and so on and so on. This took a while, but also there were some guys with, like Americans are saying, cojones, yeah, the big balls
Yeah.
were needed
Yeah.
to make it happen, because
Yeah.
nobody was capable of looking into the future. Right now, it's obvious for us that we are holding a freaking, personal computer in our hands whenever we are walking on the street, and we've got access to internet. This is natural, but you need to be super brave to bring this kind of solutions to the market. And this is exactly the same moment right now with AIs. We've got experience, we've got tools, we've got processing power, we've got our brains, which are brilliant machines, which are producing immense amount of amazing ideas. So we've got everything that is needed to make use of it. We do not know how future is going to look, but at the same time, right now is the moment that we're building this future. It's good to dream.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good moment. It's a good moment. I haven't felt this technology enthusiastic in a while. Talking with you is like infectious. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
I've got
Trying to.
I've got one last question for you before we finish off the show. And that question is, I want to come back to practice managers for a moment, to people, in this healthcare space running a clinic who are facing what I'm trying to coin as automation anxiety, right? So this is part of what's holding them back, right?
I've heard this once a few months ago in States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah? Oh,
yeah.
cool, cool. Okay. Well, that means it's not unique, but this is something that's like I realized as I was researching, how to talk about talkie and trying to come up with our marketing strategy. Automation anxiety, it's a real issue. It's in people's minds and hearts. What would you say to practice managers about that? That they're anxious to automate, that they're anxious to implement AI. What would be your message to them to try and break through that anxiety? Because it seems like it would be worth it.
Celebrated. I mean, if you stay in this particular point on a timeline, pretty much nothing happens, and I'm calling it silent death. So you're just, doing literally nothing. If you are doing the same stuff over and over, that means that you are doing literally nothing. We are human beings. We are meant to build new stuff. We need to try new things and pretty much celebrate the change, because that's the part of a process. If you learn to like it, you'll start enjoying it, and then you'll be addicted to it, and then all of a sudden, all of the stuff that you're doing, everything that you will touch, is either becoming a bit better or it's broken because you broke it. Yeah. But with skills, with experience, with knowledge of other people all around you, you will have more successes to share and less failure stories. So thanks to that, you will be celebrating every change, if it's good or not. But finally you'll get to a better place on a, the next step on the timeline is always better, even if it's coming only with experience from huge mishap that happened in the meantime. So don't stay still, celebrate the change and be part of it.
Yeah, that stagnation can be very dangerous. And I feel like as much as there is anxiety in people, I think we also all have a natural instinct to
I
grow.
mean, I've got anxiety. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm an old guy. I know that I'm building AIs. At the same time, I've got huge problem with understanding TikTok, for God's sake. Yeah, but
Nobody
I'm
understands it.
trying to. I do not have app yet, but I'm listening to people that are using it. So pretty much, I'm staying open-minded, and that's the beauty of it. If you will stay open-minded, that doesn't mean that you need to be a part of the certain change, but you will understand it in a better way.
And I really hope, and I really believe a practice manager is listening to this conversation right now and becoming just a little bit more open-minded because we had this conversation here today. Max, this has been amazing. So good talking with you, and I'm sad that our time is coming to an end. Before we say goodbye to the watchers and listeners, can you please tell us where to find you, where people should follow you, where should you go? Do you want to shout out anybody, anything? What would you like to share with the audience?
I mean, I've got my own startup that I'm also working on. I'm visiting often Silicon Valley. I'm also in Warsaw. I'm a part of a startup community, so I'm on LinkedIn. Just search for me. Totally unusual, first and last name, so pretty much easy to find. But just send a word because I love exchanging thoughts.
Yeah, I think Max is a great person to talk with, great person to connect. I think what was the story? You met with Ada on some sort of event, right? It was an NVIDIA event?
I think so. Yeah, not GTC. That was in Poland, like a closed party about like deep tech. I want to say deep tech because the only technical stuff was presented over there, and that was super amazing experience as well because like a small group of people, small scene, and a lot of really difficult technical subjects
Yeah.
presented.
Yeah, and I'm obsessed with connections, you know? One conversation leading to another conversation, leading to our conversation here today. And who knows what else is going to happen after this point, because this episode, we're done for today. Thank you, Max, so much for coming on the
Thank you.
show. It was great talking with you. Thank you to you, watchers and listeners, for listening to Scaling Practice Management today. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, rate us on the podcast platforms, visit Talkie.ai and sign up for the newsletter. You'll be informed about new episodes, new content from us. Follow us on LinkedIn and all that good stuff. Wherever you are, Talkie is probably there as well. Okay, we're not on TikTok, admittedly, but who knows?
Maybe this will
Who
change
knows?
after this show. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we're on YouTube. We're having a lot of fun on YouTube, and it's gaining traction, even if it's early days. So join us, and thank you so much for joining us here today, watchers and listeners. And I will see you next time on Scaling Practice Management. Thank you once again, Max, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And that's it for today. Bye bye.
Bye.